Y'all put your hands together if you can't. Stand up, y'all. Clap for her right now. Clap for her. For your keynote speaker. Do better than that. Do better than that. Come on, y'all. Give it up, 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 give it up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. Have you all enjoyed yourselves? Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, for coming. And I am so serious about that. You know, when this was birthed in me, I was like, okay, what is it that you want me to do? And my goal and my mission is to empower us. I have gone to so many and listened to so many motivational messages, and they say to you, today is a great day to be great. Go be great. All you need to do is focus, focus, focus. But they don't tell you what to focus on. So it's literally, for me, a waste of time, because we need more than motivation. We need some transformation. And so that's what this is about today, ladies, is transformation. It starts with us. I said I have to start with me because I'm a woman. And like the song says, we rule the world in our world. And we have to come to the world ready and prepared. So have you all really enjoyed yourselves? The food, DJ Lady Shay Royalty, and then Funny Bone. We met Funny Bone about a year ago when he did my 60th birthday. I don't think I appreciate him calling me old school, though. He don't know me like that. So I said, did he really say she old school because she started at brunch time? So, but, all right. So I'm going to have to, where is his wife? Which one? Okay, we're going to have to work on that because Reggie never would have did that. He wouldn't call me old school. So, all right, so let's just get comfortable. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let's do that together, yes. Let's take some deep breaths. All right, now, it's never too late to make a good decision. And I believe you've made a good decision today because you're investing in yourself, in your personal growth, and in your maturation. Upfront disclaimer, the game isn't over until I win. And so if I'm not winning, we're still playing. And prayerfully, hopefully, after today, that will be your motto as well. You'll be like, no matter what, if I'm not winning, we still playing. As soon as I get the win, we can quit. But until then, we're going to do this thing. Now, I often talk about having two tribes. I have a child tribe and an adult tribe. Now, my child tribe was amazing. They let me believe that I could do anything. As a matter of fact, when we were little, my grandmother would send us outside. She had a pecan tree and she wanted us to pick them up off the ground, right? So she would give us these brown paper bags and we'd go outside. I'm the youngest. I had 2 uncles, 2 male cousins, my sister and me. I would get like a half a bag of pecans, then I'd go sit down on the porch, and I have the other 5 bring me their bags. So I could tell them who picked the most. So my child tribe let me be a leader. By the time I was 6 years old, they let me delegate and lead and send them back to work. Now, as an adult, my mother often said, she said, I know you're not going to do no manual labor. I haven't been trained for manual labor. They trained me to delegate and to lead in a different way. So that's what I did. So we are the sum total of our past. Ladies, would you agree with that? We like to deny it sometimes. We like to say, I ain't like them. I grew up there, but I'm not like that. But we are the sum total of our past experience. And because of our past, we either learn to react or to respond. When we get angry, we react, right? Sometimes if we haven't been properly guided, even within ourselves. My mom, she wasn't a yeller, but you knew when she meant business. So I'm not a yeller. So if the more upset I get, the quieter I get, because I'm going to respond. I'm going to contemplate, and then I'm going to give you an answer. And then it's going to take you about a half an hour to figure out that you just got insulted. Some people that know me know that that's true, right? So I said that to say that we either react or we respond. And that tribe was assigned to me, and I was assigned to them, and I couldn't help that. That was the child tribe I had, and that was the adult tribe I had. What I will say about the adult tribe was they did the best they could with the tools that they had. And oftentimes when we become adults, we too do the best we can with the tools we have, only for our children to tell us, you could have done it a little differently. Am I right? And then we tell them, had you pushed out that instruction book, then I would have done it differently. But since you didn't push out an instruction book, get what you get, don't have a fit. We're going to do the best we can. This is my first time being your parent, your first time being my child, and we're going to get through this together. Now, neither tribe was perfect, but again, they were the tribe assigned to me and me to them. Now, there were some things spoken over me, and not all of them were positive. And everyone in this room has also had that experience where people have either said to you or about you some very negative things. And that's why I won't insult myself. I could do the thing that makes the least amount of sense, and I'll say, I'm so brilliant, because I've learned that there are enough outside forces saying negative things about us that we don't need to rehearse it ourselves. Now, I was a teen mom. I was barely 17 when I had my oldest. And trust and believe, I heard a lot of outside voices and inside voices telling me who I would or would not become. And sometimes, oftentimes, the loudest naysayer is the internal voice. We either agree with or we take on what other people have said and then we add to it. Now, I talked about my mom a little bit, and she was the perfect mom for me. No one else could have helped me become who I am today. And grateful and thankful. Now, what I will say, the primary lesson she downloaded into me was not to betray myself. And what do I mean by that? She said, be who you are. Don't allow others to dictate your how, your what, your when, your why, your where, how you should be, what you should be, when it's okay to be. Have any of you ever experienced that where it's like, okay, you can't be this here, but you can be this here? So don't allow someone to tell you when it's okay to be who you are or how you should be. And then I'm going to add one more. Again, who you should be. Don't allow others to dictate that to you. You are unique. You come with your own set of gifts, your own set of skills. You cannot have my gifts. They're mine. And I cannot have yours. They're yours. What we bring into the world is so unique, so grand, so great that we don't have to compete. We don't have to fight. We don't have to say, I want what she got. Can I get some of that? Because you have your own. There's no need for that. What I can do today, though, is to help you to build your tools so that we all become our best selves together. Now, it's work to do to unlearn and relearn. That's what I call that phase, the unlearn phase, the relearn phase. We unlearn what the outside forces have said about us, and we learn not to rehearse the negative, like, I'm so stupid. I can't make a good decision. I can't pick a good person. My picker is way off. We rehearse those things, and instead we should replace it with what our Creator says. I am wonderfully and uniquely made. I am beautiful. I'm supposed to do great things. I'm supposed to own every space I stand in. So we're supposed to do those things. And sometimes we're supposed to bring calm where there is chaos. And oftentimes the chaos is right here. So we have to settle this down in order to bring calm to the rest of the world. Now, if we thought of ourselves as a business, what kind of business would we be? We talked about Nordstrom, right? Nordstrom, Nordstrom has been here since September the 14th, 2001. That was their grand opening day. And why do I know that? Because this is my place. When this was birthed in me, I was like, okay. And I came and I tried on a dress, and I didn't purchase the dress, and then I came back for the dress. And I said, and the woman, she told me something she was going through. I said, well, actually, it's for a women's empowerment conference. I said, I don't know where it's going to be. I have a date. I don't know anything else. And she said, have you considered Nordstrom's? I said, huh? My favorite place, Nordstrom? And so as she told me about it, and I investigated it, and here we are. Because what's meant to be will be. But okay, so that's really not why I said that. I said that because we are powerful people. And what we want to do, we can do. Right? All right. So now, again, if we thought of ourselves as a business, will we be a failing business, an average business, or like Nordstrom, a business of excellence? And that might sound harsh, but we need to be brutally honest with ourselves. We have to start somewhere. We're not to condemn ourselves, never, never. But we can only move forward if we're realistic about where we are right now. And so today, you will receive greater clarity on how to move forward, not only in the next level, but in the current level you're in. So let's get started. Y'all ready to go on this journey? You ready? All right. So now, first question, how do you feel about you for real? What are you saying about you when no one else is watching? Now, again, I have so many disclaimers. We own a med spa. So one of our receptionists, one day I was talking, I was like, oh yeah, today was a good day to take pictures because I have puffy eyes, right? And so she said, why do you insult yourself? I'm like, I'm not insulting myself. I have puffy eyes. It's hereditary. And she said, Miss Anita, you're a mentor. She said, and we look up to you. She said, so if you say negative things about yourself, what are we going to say about ourselves? I was like, okay, you better check me, little girl. But it was good because it was true. My puffy eyes are hereditary. But the way I said it was an insult to me. And sometimes we insult ourselves and we don't even realize it. So now we're going to talk about capacity versus potential. Capacity is often measurable in terms of quantities and physical limits, while potential is more abstract, and it relates to our ability to develop and to achieve something. Give me an example, Anita. So glad you asked, right? So this tumbler right here, this tumbler only holds so much water. If I overfill the tumbler, it's going to get messy, right? Because it's reached its capacity, and I've tried to put more in it. Potential, like the Gulf of Mexico and other large bodies of water, they don't have a capacity, they have potential. They can expand. We're about to enter hurricane season, and we'll see the water swell in order to reach whatever is coming at them. They have so much potential that they will overflow onto land because the land doesn't have the capacity to handle that. So potential is what we have. Some days we say, I've reached my limit, can't take no more. There's one person, if they do one more thing, that's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Then the one more thing happens. And what do? We accommodate the one more thing because we haven't reached a capacity that we don't have. We're getting our potential. We're growing, we're learning, we're achieving. And then you're probably saying my favorite words right now. You're right, Anita. I tell people those are my favorite words. And but I'm here. You're saying those are my favorite words, Anita. And you're saying, but I'm here to find out how to stop my capacity mind thinking and get to my potential seeking. So here's what I believe is the first step, intent. And what are you determined to do? Now, intent is a little bit different from intention. Oh, Joey, thank you. I'm so glad you, calling you out. I'm so glad you got that journal. So in your swag bags, you have your journal, you have your pen, you have your tumbler, because we want you to take notes to know that you came prepared to learn, that we came prepared to make sure that you're able to learn. So thank you for that reminder, Joey. So intent versus intention. So other people said, you know what, Anita, I'm going to come. So they had good intentions. They intended to come to 2911 Speaks inaugural event. You all had intent. You said, I'm going to make it. I'm going to push some other things aside. I'm going to make sure that I'm there. Now, the first 5 people that registered while we're talking, they got a little something extra in their bag. Marla was the very first person that registered. So she has a book in her bag as well as an envelope for a half an hour coaching session. And then the others, because we want you to be comfortable, you have in your bags either an oxygen bar or a real relaxed chair at our med spa. Because our intent is for you to be intentional about everything that you do, right? Okay. So, all right, so now, so other people said I was intent on coming and you made it here. And you made sure nothing interfered with you. I'm a word girl. Words impact our life. They impact our outlook. They frame our outlook. And everything starts with the words that are coming out of my mouth or the words that are entering into my brain. And then let's talk about purpose a little bit. The reason for doing the thing, the goal, the aim. And I'm going to pause right here and tell you the purpose, the intent of 2911 Speaks. The purpose of 2911 Speaks is to cultivate diverse voices through practical pathways in a nurturing environment, to empower others to develop their communication power, to create an environment to help others purposefully transform not only themselves, but their communities as well, and to help you confidently step into your destined future. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, we have to be resolute about our intent and our purpose. And then comes decision. Again, it's never too late to make a good decision. Decide on what it is that you want. Do you want to be bound by the past, your current, or a self-limiting future? Now, you realize that you can have a high-paying job and still have self-limiting thoughts and ideas about yourself, right? I told you I was barely 17 when I had my oldest. Well, I made a decision that she wouldn't have the same struggles or obstacles I had. I didn't know how I was going to change it, but I knew I would. I made a decision to move forward and not to become stagnant and let the chips fall where they may. The goal was a better life. The first goal for me was to graduate from high school. I had her in March. I graduated in June. So I went through most of my senior year as a teen mom. I was actually going to drop out of school because her dad was captain of the football team. And I didn't want him to be embarrassed, right? Thinking about somebody else. So I was gonna just drop out of school, get my GED, and go on about my business. Her dad was so loved that his coach offered to adopt her. He said for us to come over for a meeting. We went over there. He said, I'll take the baby. That way both of you can go on about your lives. Well, he had python snakes. I said, they won't be squeezing this one. In any case, so the goal was to graduate. So I graduated high school, and then I immediately got a job for the Department of Business and Professional Regulations as a temporary secretary. And I used the skills that were in my young toolbox. So what's your goal? What's the goal? And then you have to commit. Put it in writing. Put your goal in writing. Make it a screensaver. The screensavers on my phone is 2911 Speaks and Re-Wellness and IV Bar, because those are my babies. We didn't have cell phones like Funny Bone said back then. We didn't have cell phones. So I had a literal screensaver sitting in front of me. Screensaver, raise your hand. So, yes. And then you already know what your children look like, what your spouse, what your house looks like. You won't forget that. You will not forget your address. But if you don't write your decision down, Your goal, you're subject to change it or even forget it. Like, say I want to run a 3K run, right, in the next 3 months. So make the screensaver the event you plan to attend. And then you do that every time you open your phone, you see what the goal is. And then you're less likely to make frivolous choices. You're less likely to stop at a fast food place because you know that's going to impact how you run, right? And then you might find a run club or bring clothes with you so that you take them before you go home and you settle in. You do it. Actionable steps. That's what we're talking about, actionable steps. And if you aren't willing to write it down, more than likely you're not willing to see it through. So are you willing to write it down? And then you want to implement. Break that commitment down into bite-sized pieces. Make sure that the commitment is reasonable. Don't commit to run 5 days a week when you know you ain't ran in 15 years. Don't do that. Hello, somebody, right? Get the app. Run 1 minute, walk 3 minutes for 10-minute intervals. Then work your way up from there. Are you getting the picture? You have the goal. Then you come up with the plan. You put it in writing because you're committed to it. Your intent is to complete it. And then what are 2 things that week you can do? You write down 2 things. Don't make a whole 10 list. You're not going to do the 10 more than likely because you've not disciplined yourself in that way. So write down the 2 things you can do. I can put my workout clothes in the car and I can stop before I get home. And I can put the event I want as my screensavers. Now that's my example. Do any of you want to throw out a goal? Now not for you, but for your friend. I'm just saying. Nope. Okay, that's good because you're gonna have one before we finish. All right. So my question is, for you, who is it that has told you what you can or cannot do, who you can or cannot be, what you can or cannot achieve, and why do you believe them? What is it that makes their voice more powerful than the voice within you? The next thing is, whatever your goal, your plan, your intent is, you have to decide, who am I going to share it with? And who do I dare not tell? Who is it that is going to be, we're going to talk about that later, my dream crusher versus my dream builder? Now, let's do a little bit of a circle check since we're talking about that. I told you I had a child tribe, right? A child tribe and an adult tribe. Well, they were pre-assigned. I had nothing to do with it. But my circle is my choice. Who's in the circle? Did I lose someone along the way? Did I pick up a stray that never should have been in the circle? Is my circle complete or are there gaps? We have all more than likely heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? Well, chickens and eagles cannot coexist. They cannot operate in the same space. Chickens, at best, can fly about 40 yards, only as high as 10 feet. That's a little bit higher than that mirror. They're able to do short bursts of flight to get away from ground predators. Eagles, on the other hand, have large wingspans, powerful muscles. They can soar at great heights for extended periods, and they can see their prey at about 2 miles away. They are dual vision, meaning they can focus at great distances and close up. That makes their vision 25 versus our vision 20/20, meaning what we see at 5 feet, the eagle sees 20 feet away. Eagles are symbols of power, of freedom, of independence. At 17, I couldn't afford a large circle. I couldn't go out partying. I couldn't go to the beach. I couldn't do the things most teens did. The goal was to graduate from high school and then to find a job and then to take care of my screensaver. I had to change her trajectory, and I was intent on doing so. I didn't even have a car. I lived in an apartment. When she was 6 months old, we started living in an apartment on our own at 17. So what I would do was I would put her in her stroller, take her to a store that's not even open anymore, cash and carry. Then I would put her stroller under the buggy, put her in the buggy, go back to my apartment, put my basket of clothes in the buggy, and we would go to the laundromat because I was intent on making sure that her life changed. I was intent on saying, I don't have to party, I ain't got time to party. So my circle had to be tight. I could only be around people that could feed that. And the people that I knew weren't able to feed that, they had to go because we're on a mission. Are you all on a mission? And what is the mission? We have to be intent on that, right? My decision outweighed the need to hang out. My circle consisted, again, of people that could facilitate me. Can I tell you all who facilitated me? I would have to catch a bus from our apartment to downtown Tampa, and then catch a bus from downtown Tampa to her grandmother's, run her to her grandmother's and catch the same bus back downtown on their way back, and then back. My circle consisted of 4 bus drivers. They would make sure that I got home safely because I couldn't hear the noise of anybody else. If you're not gonna help me get to the next level, I do not have time for you. So now my next question is, when we inventory our circles, are we inventorying because we're an eagle in a chicken's world, or are we chickens in an eagle's world? We have to look, we have to know. And if we're a chicken, we gotta be brutally honest. Are we only able to go 40 yards at a time, no higher than 10 feet? And do we wanna change? Are we content with ground level? Or do we want to become the eagle in the circle? Because there's more than one chicken usually, but eagles soar alone, chickens flock together. So that's the question. So here's where the check comes. Are the people in your circle encouraging you to excel? If you're an eagle, are you in the right circle? Are the chickens saying things like, you're good right here. You don't need to change. You don't need to go any higher. Why you always gotta outdo somebody? That's a chicken, right? The eagle says, you can do this. You got this. The eagle says, you're a CRNA, gosh darn it, you can do anything. That's what the eagle says. So the chickens are literally snatching the dream before you had time to make a real decision, commit to it in writing, and implement it. Now, truth be told, a plucker, they can look like an encourager. They can tell you stuff like, yeah, go ahead, step on out into the deep, knowing that you're not prepared. And then when you don't fly, what do they say? I didn't think you should have done that, but I ain't want to tell you. So what did they just do? They just revealed themselves as the true pluckers that they are. And so the thing is, we sit down, again, with pen and paper, and we write down the names of the people in our circle. And we write what value they bring. We write what being with or without them would mean to us. It's a lot, right? Nobody wants to label what their friend does, but it's necessary. And why is it necessary? Because if you're not willing to write real information about the people that are investing into your life, then you're not knowing if they're contributors or distractors, and if they will help you get to the next level, or are they just using you as a piggyback to get them to their next level? You have to be honest about who is in your circle so that you're not delusional, thinking that they're bringing substance and there is no substance, right? So I can honestly say that the women here today that have known me for any length of time, that they are dream pushers, that they are encouragers. Some have had to take me to their car and have a talk with me over 30 years ago because I was acting like I didn't have good sense. Some I've called about my marriage, and I have a wonderful husband. He was wrong. We've been together 18 years, married 14. So, but that's okay, because he feels like we've been married forever in a good way. Some have had to talk to me about my good husband and say, Anita, you're in error. You're wrong. You need to apologize. See, that's what encouragers do. They tell you when you're wrong. They support you through your wrongness, and they get you back on the right track. Now, your dream pluckers, you have to have a conversation with them. You don't go to them, you don't say, you know, I thought you were a friend, but you just out here plucking the life out of me. You don't have that conversation. What you do is you say, I realize that our current relationship, I can no longer serve you in a way that's fruitful to both of us. You own the need for change because they can't help who they are. And it shouldn't be our goal to demean or diminish. Now, they might get angry, they might lash out, they might talk about you, they might do all the things. But because you've done the self-work, their opinion is none of your business. I tell people that all the time. What you think of me is really none of my business. I need you to keep that to yourself. And when people come and they tell me everybody said, I ask them, can you go get everybody? Because I've never met someone named everybody. So until you can bring everybody here, we're only going to deal with you and me. So I don't want to hear what everybody said. I don't want your opinion. It's none of my business. Keep all of that. Keep all of that to yourself. I'm not a garbage disposal. I'm not a garbage receptacle. I don't accept any of that. I had a plucker say to me when I was in college, how can you be away from your babies for so long? A whole day? They spent the night with me every night, but they were trying to get me not to reach my goal. They were like, you can be on government assistance and keep your baby. Or I can end up paying somebody else's government assistance and go to college and help my baby and then help somebody else. How about that? So I had already made up my mind and it was too late. I was committed. We're going to do this thing. So today's goal again is to start the transformative journey. You, your circle, and your finances. We talked about you, how we're going to change how you look at you. I can stand here all day and tell you how beautiful you are, and you are. I can stand here all day and tell you how intelligent you are, and you are. I didn't know I was smart until I was like 41 years old. I'm like, how have I been thinking that I'm average, right? Because I was still listening to the outside voices. I let them in. And I thought, well, anybody could do this. And that's not true. And that's not true for you either. But until you absorb it for yourself, it doesn't matter what I say. So now we're going to talk about finances. Okay? And how you and your circle influence your finances. Now, I'm not an accountant. And there have been times when my budget couldn't even spell the word budget. Now, I told y'all I've been a Nordstrom girl since September 14th, 2001, when they had their grand opening. I had my own little personal stylist, the salesperson. I had what I considered a team. And they would fit my little curves and keep me looking like $1 million. I mean, I knew somebody in every department, in clothing and lingerie and the shoes, the fragrances, the bags, the accessories, every department. I knew somebody. I would come in and try on a dress, and they would go downstairs and get me some shoes that matched. They would always walk from behind the counter like Nordstrom's used to do, and they give me my bag, and they say, my pleasure. I'd be like, okay, this is my place. So, and then I would come here during this time of year, during the anniversary sale, and I would be so happy. They would even have my deodorant ready. Donna Karan Cashmere Mist, because it goes on sale this time of year, just letting y'all know. And so you can see my level of commitment and my level of intent concerning Nordstrom's right here at International Plaza, Tampa. So I would tell them my goal as a nurse and my plan on becoming a nurse anesthetist. I told y'all how much I came. I wrote down the goal to become a CRNA, to be in school by September of 2007. I bought my daughters Tiffany bracelets for Valentine's Day, and I told them I'm going to be in school in December. I'm not going to be able to afford nothing for Christmas and nothing for the next couple of years. I asked my oldest to move back home because I would need the financial help because I wouldn't have a job, right? She never had to help me growing up because I had made that decision already, that I was going to change her trajectory. She would never have a light bill that she needed to pay because her mama couldn't do it. So I had already made that decision. So then once I was accepted into the program, I came to Nordstrom's. I talked to my stylist. I said, hey, listen, I'm about to go to school. I'm not going to have a job for the next 28 months. But I'm still going to show up. But when I show up, I want y'all to tell me no. I want y'all to tell me, no, Anita, you're in school. You can't buy anything. I want y'all to treat me like you've been treating me. And they did. I would come and they would say, what you looking at? Not what are you here for? What you looking at? So again, they became that little tight circle to keep me focused. They held me accountable to my goal and still treated me with value. And because I had a goal, I could formulate a plan and then enlist those around me to keep me on task and targeted. And now this is where it might get a little bit sticky. We talked about how you feel about yourself and what is your world perspective about you. When we have an unhealthy perspective, we attempt to fix it with material possessions. We buy stuff to band-aid it, to patch what's going on inside. We have to take inventory, real inventory of our thoughts concerning ourselves so that we can maintain a healthy financial state. When we haven't gotten our circle together, we spend money on them. We're either going to dinner, we're going on vacations, we're buying them gifts, we're keeping up with the you fill in the blank for you. We do the whole 9 yards. And then that wreaks havoc over our finances. So when we have sat down and written real information about our circle, contributors or distractors, we're better able to navigate our spending. Because when we write down a name, we'll put like dinner. We go to dinner all the time. We go to the movies all the time. We hang out all the time. So you see they're not contributing anything of value to you. So then you're able to say, okay, so every time we go to dinner, I spend $50, $60. Every time we go to the beach and I buy gas, and gas is getting higher by the end of the week, it gets higher. I buy gas, and gas is $40 each and every time. My friend is costing me a good $150, $200 a week. And so then we say, well, now if I looked at my bank account says that the B and the T are so far apart that they're not even looking like they want to meet. So what we do is we reconfigure how we do our money. We say, I'm not going to go here with this friend, and then we don't spend that money. We take that money and we put it away. We put it somewhere where we won't touch it. And then we will see how much we will accumulate. Now, I used to, when I was working, right, I talked to my daughter. I said, I have so much extra money. I don't even know what to do with it. And she said to me, Mom, those sound like champagne problems. Because I wasn't spending a lot. I'm not a foolish spender. Even when I was coming to Nordstrom's all the time, I was very wise in my spending because I was a teenage mom. And I knew that the only way to get from level A to level B is to look cute, be cute, but don't spend like you're cute. So she said, those sound like champagne issues. I was like, that's cute. So what I would do every payday is I would go to the bank and I would get a cashier's check. And then I would put the cashier's check in the memo. I would write champagne issue. And then I would put it in a drawer. Was that wisdom? Honestly, no. Because I should have been putting it in a high yield savings account and gaining some interest. But it sounded cute and it felt good because I got champagne issues. So even when we think we're doing the right thing, there's always more we can do. So, all right. So the champagne issues did turn out good, but still, it would have been wiser had I put that money in a high yield savings account to gain interest. Now, so what we do is we talk to a financial advisor. We give them our checkbook. We give them our credit card statements so that they see where we're spending our money. We have to be willing to be open and honest with the people that are going to aid us. So we decide, we commit by putting it in writing, and then we implement. I didn't buy anything from Nordstrom's for 28 months. I promise you I didn't. I came to see him. I talked to him. I even needed something altered for my daughter. Wasn't coming. Got him to alter it because I had made such an investment in them that they were willing to reinvest in me. And then when you're making these money decisions, don't write like rainy day fund. We all know it's gonna rain. We're in Florida, right? So we give it names like Greece, Paris in the springtime, the calm fund, when chaos happens. And why? Because when you put money in the rainy day fund, you're thinking, oh, this is for something tragic. But if you put it when chaos happens, you know you're preparing a calm experience for the chaos. And then make it mean something to you, that you will notice how you invest in those things. And then the other thing we do, we don't hoard. We never hoard. If your closet is full, do inventory and either gift it or sell the extras. Now, if you choose to gift it, make it a donation that is tax deductible, because we're talking about finances, right? So make it tax deductible. And if you sell it, put it in a fund that you've named. Money matters. It's a tool. It's not a weapon. It's a tool, and we respect its position in our lives. We find ourselves in distress, and we continue the cycle. If we don't stop, take a deep breath, and re-engage. Stop, take a deep breath, and re-engage. So what's next? That's up to you. The bag is yours to fill. They're little blue bags. They're not little brown bags that you put pecans in. The bag is up to you. Will you be able to go sit and delegate and supervise, or will you have to do manual labor because you're not properly prepared? Now, I can do manual labor, and I enjoy it. It's called decorating. But it's not something I have to do. It's something I choose to do. And then, so what's the goal? Each of you have your own goals. Each of you have your own plans. And then what will get you to that goal? Again, write down at least 2 things that you can do this week. Not this month, this week. Commit to it. Are you willing to put it in writing? And who can you share it with? And who do you dare not tell? And then be honest about who you don't tell. Don't try it one more time and say, I'm going to tell them and see if they get it right this time. No, they've been a plucker from the beginning, and they're going to continue to pluck. They're not going to change. So you be the change. What's that? Be the change you want to see? Change their circle. You step out. Change their circle, and you step out of that circle. And it's not about socioeconomic status. It's not about what neighborhood you live in. It's about what's being poured into you and what are you pouring into others. Again, a plucker can encourage you. They can get you to step on out there knowing you're going to drown, and then say, girl, I didn't see it for you. So you just told me. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And they've been giving you warning signs. They've been telling you that they really ought not to be in your circle, that they really ought not to be in your environment. An eagle, the altitude is high, the oxygen is thinner, but they breathe. You never see an eagle fall because he couldn't stand the climb. Again, a chicken can't go beyond 10 feet because he is not built to soar. Everyone in this room is built to soar. So ladies, let's soar. Let's soar together. Does anyone have a question right now that they might think about? Not right this minute?
I do. With you being in nursing school and you being a mother, how did you, as you were saying, properly prepare to eventually not only become a nurse, but you was a CRNA as well? Like, what was that like for you? Like, how did you prepare yourself?
Okay, well, fortunately, I had a good support system in my family. Her grandmother was an amazing woman, and so I never had to have a babysitter for her. I could drop all three of my children off over there, and they would be safe. I had two when I was going through college, and I was just intent. I mean, so intent that sometimes I would literally get up out of class because I'd be like, did I drop the children off, or are they sitting in the back seat of a hot car? Because I was that focused, and I let nothing deter me. So that's how I did it. I just said, I'm going to do this. And then when I did get into CRNA school, my mom actually came over once and she told me she was having some chest pain. And I said to her, I said, okay, mama, so this is what you got to do. I said, because I'm in school. Come hell or high water, no water at all. This is what I'm doing. I said, so if you choose to die while I'm in school, I'm not going to mourn you. I said, I'm not going to attend your funeral. I said, I'm going to let my sister handle that, and then I'll take care of it after. And my mom made it through me going to school. And she looked at me like, really? Because I needed everyone to know that I'm intent on this, that this is what we're doing. And there's no poop or get off the pot. Everybody gonna poop together. We all gonna do this. And then when we did open the business of the med spa, I called two friends. They were both in retirement. I said, hey, I'm opening a med spa. I need a couple of nurses. They basically came out of retirement because I've sown into others, so they're willing to sow into me. So make sure, to answer your question, make sure, one, you're not a plucker, and two, that you're intent and purposeful in everything that you do. Any other questions? Y'all so quiet. I love it. I love it. I love it, because that means you're thinking. That right now, I see wheels turning. I think I see some friends in y'all eyes. Go ahead.
Another one then, so you said being intentional and intent is different. So you being a 17-year-old mom, how did you get to the point of being intent?
I had no choice. My mom offered to raise my daughter. I said, well, hey, I'm a teenage mom. I'm going to say no for 10 bob. I'm going to take on this responsibility. I did this. And we own what we do. I believe that if you do something wrong, own it, right? This is how you live life without regret, is you own what you do. You say, you know what, I can stand flat-footed and say I made a mistake. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I acknowledge my mistake and move forward. I don't allow you to dictate how I respond, and I don't react to you. I'm going to stop and think about it. You said, what? Let me show you. Every hurdle is opportunity to jump higher. So yeah. So that's how I was I'm telling you, like the horses, they can't see. You can't look to the left or to the right. It's straight ahead. And then the rearview mirror in your car is small. The windshield is big because you're supposed to move forward. You look in the rearview mirror to make sure ain't nobody coming up on you. And if they're coming up on you, you want to have a way to move aside and let them do what they're going to do, because you're going to reach your goal. Amen? Amen. That's right. What's my favorite 2 words? You're right. Yay! All right. And honestly, that concludes it. It's just that simple. And we are willing to help in any way that we can. If you need someone to coach you through whatever you're going through. I'm not a marriage counselor, but I know how to have a good marriage. I know how to keep him first. I know how to be strong and powerful, and then come home and be a wife. And he'll say, what do you want for dinner? Whatever you say. Why? Because I've made decisions all day. Honestly, I don't want to make another decision. Right? Because Reggie wouldn't ask me to make a decision. So, and if he tell me what Tiffany said, I'm going to say, well, Tiffany Tell Tiffany your wife puts people to sleep for a living. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I would like to say 3 words that I heard that was very inspiring: motivation, determination, and intentionality. Did we all get that?
Yes.
All right.
Is there, or are there any other words that you all heard that anybody would like to express or respond on?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Anybody else?
Sacrifice is significant because you're going to sacrifice some things. We know how we see the pencils in school, and we all ready to sharpen them, right? Because we want our pencil sharp so we can write it down. But doesn't that pencil lose something as it's being sharpened? Isn't it being ground away as it's being sharpened? So you're going to lose some things. That pencil is sacrificing its bluntness to become sharp. And if iron sharpens iron, you're going to lose some things along the way. And you have to be comfortable with the loss. You have to be willing to look at what you lose and what you gain, the risk benefit. So that's why I'm telling you, write down those friends. They don't have to know you got them on the list, but write them down. And then have an honest conversation with them that leaves them as whole as they know how to be. I always believe that we leave people as whole as they know how to be. I had to terminate an employee, right? And so I'm like, the reception is horrible at work. And so I said, well, this is where she can hear me, so I'm gonna do it right here. When I got off the phone, one of my coworkers said, if I ever have to get fired, I'm gonna say, let Anita do it. Because I left her whole. And I told her, I appreciate you coming to work for us, but what your goal is and what the goal of our business is, they no longer match. So we will have to part ways. I wish you well. I wish you much great success. And I mean it. What other word other than sacrifice?
Accountability.
Accountability. That's right. You have to be willing to be accountable. First to who? Yourself. You have to look at yourself and say, okay, so this is what I want. And it doesn't have to be anything major, but it's major for you because it's what you want. So you have to be accountable to yourself and then hold others accountable as well. So it's about having difficult conversations in every area of your life. When my husband and I don't agree, then I'll tell him, you know what? I don't necessarily agree with that. It doesn't make me right, but it means that I'm being first accountable to me and true to me and honest with me. And then I give him space and opportunity to tell me why it's not like I'm right 99.9% of the time. What's another word?
Honesty.
Say that again?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Honest with yourself and in evaluating your circle.
That's right. You have to be honest with yourself first. It's all internal. You have to be honest with yourself and then those around you. And then when they're not willing to accept the honesty, you weren't meant for this circle. You weren't meant to soar. You weren't meant to go to greater heights. This ain't for you. And then you have to be okay with that again. To say, you know what? It's been real. And now it's going to be really apart. Right?
When you mentioned chickens versus eagles, and you said it's not a socioeconomic thing, can you explain more about that?
Yes. Okay. So just because you might say you have a high-paying career, right? And so your friend, they're not at the same socioeconomic status as you are, but they're significant to you. But how does that friend feel? Do they feel like they are a chicken to your eagle? Or do you acknowledge them as the eagle that they are? That just because they don't have the same money you have doesn't mean they don't bring great value to you. Because value is much more important than money. If you follow your passion, I promise you, money gonna chase you down. But if you are not a person of integrity, if you're not a person of substance, if you cannot stand flat-footed in who you are, then it doesn't matter what you make. You're going to be a plucker. Does that, okay. Yes, gentlemen in the women's conference.
I remember for your transparency.
Transparency, that's
Can you
right.
explain how that has helped you in your life to get to where you are today?
Yes, I am, another disclaimer, I'm transparent. I don't hide the fact that I had a child when I was 17, that we literally grew up together. But people ask her, I bet your mom is like your best friend, right? She say, no, that's my mama. Because again, they would say sister? Okay, amen. Yes, amen. I want them to still say sister, but is that your sister? But so I was always very honest about my life. I've always been honest about being a teen mom, being embarrassed, being ashamed, and then how did I get over the shame? And I would say, she would come home and she would say, my friend's mom is really old. She wasn't old. I would say, no, that was just a responsible adult, right? Because I didn't see myself as a responsible adult. And then it dawned on me, hey, I was responsible. And I became an adult in my responsibility. So I've always been extremely transparent. And if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I don't like you, I'm going to say, you know what? This is not something we can do together, because I'm always going to leave you whole. I'm never going to insult you. I'm never going to demean or minimize who you are as a person, because we're all on a journey. And I don't know where your journey is taking you. Your journey you might not be able to go with me, and I might not be able to go with you, but we're all on a journey, so we may as well be honest about it. I told one of my friends the other day, I said, oh, this is a circle chick. And she said, oh, I'm always gonna be in your circle. Like, you're never gonna put me out. I'm like, okay, you've been here for over 30 years. You're always gonna be in my circle. That whenever I need you, I call you. Whenever you need me, you call me. And she called me and she told me something. I said, hey, let's pray. Because that's what I do. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. And that's how we should view all of our friendships and relationships. I'm here to serve. I might not be able to serve you in my world, but I can help you serve you outside. Anything else?
I don't know if we said this already because I've been in work mode.
That's right.
Sheer determination.
Sheer determination, right. And this is my cousin Brittany, and isn't she just absolutely gorgeous? And she's brilliant, and she's an author, right? So, and her dad was my mom's favorite brother. And her dad and my mom would go to dinner together once a month. And so after my mom passed, I asked my uncle, I said, can we start going to breakfast together once a month? Because I didn't want to lose the connection of my mom, and I wanted to learn about my uncle. So sheer determination. And we keep our lunch dates, our breakfast dates, because once you focus on a thing, you need that 25 view. I'm not taking my eyes off the prize. I'm not going to shift to the left or the right. Because what? The game ain't over until I do what? I win. If I'm not winning, we're playing. Sheer determination. If I'm not winning, we're playing. I don't care how old you are. If I'm not winning, we're playing. Ask my grandsons. So, and then I'll tell you one more story if you all have a minute. When I was in my 30s, and I had moved back from Miami, and I was living with my mom until my apartment got ready. And one day I came home from work, and my mom had been playing Zelda all day, because she loved games. And so when I walked in the door, she said, I can't get past this level. I need you to play. I've been at work. I'm a nurse. I'm tired. I don't care. I need you to play this game. So, okay. So I played. I got past that level. Keep playing. Mama, I'm hungry. What you want to eat? My mother literally made me play the game for 8 hours until I won the entire game. And back then I just thought it was so annoying. But then after she passed, honestly, in reflection, my mother told me, what I cannot do, you can do. Where I cannot go, you can go. What I cannot achieve, you can achieve. So she instilled in me, even in the game of Zelda, the game ain't over until you win. Right? So, yes. Thank you, ladies.